When did your stepmom deny your raise to fund her Peloton certification? #AITA for demanding my stepmom be banned from my work group chat after she denied my raise to pay for her Peloton instructor certification. I'm 54 and student loan crushed and I'm losing it. Holy actual hell, you guys. I just found out my stepmother, Janice 51F, who somehow wormed her way into an advisory role at the small regional accounting firm I've worked at for 20 years, literally blocked my annual cost of living raise. And not just because the firm is struggling, but specifically because she needed the money for something so outrageously entitled, it made my iPhone 14 battery die of shock. I am Arthur Sanders, 54M, and I am currently sitting in the break room of our office on the 5th floor, way past 5:30 p.m., trying not to scream into a lukewarm cup of gas station coffee that tastes like despair. I'm still reeling. Like I'm shaking so hard my hands are vibrating and I just accidentally dumped half a packet of Splenda on my khaki slacks. NGL, I look like a wreck. I haven't slept properly in 3 days. My stress acne is so bad right now it looks like I tried to fight a swarm of bees and lost. Let me back up. This is going to be long and rambling because I need to vent this entire ridiculous saga before I call HR. Yes. HR, the resolution approach, buckle up. This is where it gets spicy and completely torch my entire career. But honestly, I'm already crushed by $140,000 in student loan debt from 2 degrees I got 30 years ago that are basically worthless now, so what do I have to lose? A 2018 Honda Civic with 180k miles, LOL. My dad, bless his completely oblivious heart, married Janice about 5 years ago last June. They've been together since fall 2019. Janice is impulsive. Like decide to become a holistic crystal energy healer after reading one TikTok thread impulsive. She's the kind of person who uses vibe check seriously in a professional setting. My firm, Gray & Associates, is tiny. We handle local small businesses. The owner is Isaiah Gray, 73M. He's practically a wise mentor to me, been there since I was a fresh-faced 34-year-old trying to pay off that crushing debt. Isaiah is old school, sweet, and frankly too trusting. He's been trying to retire for 3 years, but nobody else wants the headaches. About a year and a half ago, Janice decided she wanted to be an entrepreneur and convinced my dad to put some money into her wellness consulting business. It failed, obviously. She then sweet-talked Isaiah into letting her come in part-time to handle morale and communications because Isaiah hates technology and she convinced him she was a guru. She mostly just spends all day on her Samsung Galaxy taking loud personal calls and trying to organize mandatory fun, team-building yoga sessions at 11:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. The real disaster started 2 months ago when she insisted on creating a group chat for internal synergy. This wasn't a work chat like Slack or Teams. This was literally a WhatsApp group chat she made where she posts inspirational quotes and passive-aggressive suggestions about who needs to clean up the coffee pot. I should mention our staff. Besides Isaiah and me, there's Christopher Wilson, 61M, who handles payroll and is generally a sweetheart but has this weird tendency to go off on extremely dated and frankly transphobic rants whenever the conversation veers too far into modern social issues. He's a total mess, but he's good at his job. Then there's Shirley Park, 37F, who is technically our office manager, but she was a bully to me in high school and still treats me like the nerd she used to shove into lockers. She uses the group chat exclusively to complain about things in all caps and send passive-aggressive texts about people forgetting to use the printer responsibly. We've been dating 2 years 4 months, which feels like 24 years honestly. Okay, setting the stage, money is tight, really tight. My rent for apartment 3B is $1,247, and I just had an emergency plumber charge of $85 because Shirley clogged the toilet with an entire roll of paper towels. She denies it obviously, but the Ring doorbell footage on the hallway camera saw her. I am constantly chasing the next dollar just to cover bills. I frequently rely on $200 withdrawals to cover my high-interest credit card payments, and my grocery bill, even shopping at Costco and Trader Joe's, averaged $43.67 over budget last week. I literally live paycheck to paycheck. My performance review was 3 weeks ago. Isaiah said I was doing great, that I saved the firms but multiple times this year, remember the Smith account. God, that was awful, and he verbally promised me a 4% cost of living raise which would have added about $2,500 to my annual income. Not huge, but enough to breathe a little. He shook my hand, told me to keep up the good work, and said the official memo would go out the following week. Fast forward to this past Monday. No memo. Tuesday morning, still nothing. I was checking my PTO hours and realized I still had 47 hours of vacation days left, which is great, but I needed the money, not the time. I asked Isaiah that afternoon, maybe 3:00 p.m. I went into his office. He looked totally distraught. His usual calm mentor vibe was gone. Arthur, come in, close the door, he said. I knew something was off. My stomach dropped. I felt that familiar tight chest feeling, the one I get when I see an overdraft fee notification. Is everything okay with the raise? I thought it was confirmed, I asked. Isaiah sighed, running a hand through his sparse white hair. It was confirmed, Arthur, you deserve it, you deserve more, but Janice, she brought up some budgetary concerns during our finance meeting. I raised an eyebrow. Janice, budgetary concerns? The woman who buys Talenti gelato every day and charges it as a client morale expense. What concerns? I asked, trying to sound calm, but my voice was already tight. She showed me some spreadsheets. Said that if we implemented the 4% raise across the board, it would destabilize the Q4 projections. Said we needed to reallocate those funds to necessary operational expenses. Operational expenses like what? I wanted to scream, but I kept the volume to a strained whisper. She mentioned a new employee wellness initiative and an upgraded communications platform. I knew exactly what that meant. The upgraded communications platform was probably a premium version of her horoscope app. Isaiah, I started, trying to appeal to the wise mentor side of him. My student loan payment just jumped up again. I have a $347 bill that is completely stressing me out. That raise was vital for me. He looked genuinely sad. I know, Arthur, I am truly sorry. I told her you were invaluable, but she was adamant. Said you were being too sensitive and needed to practice financial mindfulness. She even used the phrase, after all, Arthur, no one else would put up with your particular accounting methods. The gaslighting, the absolute audacity. I just nodded, trying not to let the rage boil over. I left his office feeling numb but also raging. I grabbed a Ben & Jerry's pint from the freezer. Yes, we keep emergency pints in the break room, don't judge, and just started stress eating. That night around 10:30 p.m., I was trying to decompress by binge-watching Hulu when I started scrolling through the WhatsApp group chat, the internal synergy nightmare. It was mostly just Shirley complaining about the paper quality and Christopher posting a slightly blurry image of a political cartoon. Then Janice posted. And this is the moment everything shattered. She posted an excited, rambling message with approximately 4 spelling errors. I am serious, she can't spell. Janice 51F, hey everyone. So thrilled to share that I've officially enrolled in the Elite Global Instructor Certification for Transformational Movement. This is going to bring so much value to Gray and Associates and our team's internal synergy. The enrollment fee was steep, but sometimes you just need to invest in your personal growth and future leadership. I'll be teaching a mandatory 6 a.m. virtual session starting next week. See you on the Peloton, peeps. Namaste. And she included a screenshot of the enrollment confirmation email. I zoomed in. I literally felt my heart race and my hands start shaking again. I had to put the ice cream down because I knew I was going to throw up. The confirmation email showed the tuition cost. It was exactly $2,489. That number was so close to the $2,500 I would have got from my raise that the math wasn't mathing, it was screaming. She took my raise. She literally took the money designated for the annual cost of living adjustment and funneled it into paying for her Peloton instructor certification. The audacity of this woman, I saw red. I mean actual cartoon character, steam out of my ears rage. I completely forgot that this was a workplace chat and that I was 54 years old and should handle this professionally. I was done, just done. All the years of sucking up the debt, the low wages, the office drama, and this woman, my stepmother, stole my tiny slice of financial relief for an impulsive decision to become a fitness influencer. I started typing furiously. I wasn't even forming full sentences at first. I was just smashing the keys. Arthur Sanders 54M, are you kidding me? You denied my raise, my vital cost of living raise that was already approved to pay for a goddamn Peloton certification. I hit send. My screen immediately blew up. Christopher 61M responded first, bless him, always chaotic. Christopher Wilson 61M, wait what, Arthur, they denied your raise? Why, I just ordered a new golf simulator, I need mine. Shirley 37F was next, predictably judgmental. Shirley Park 37F, Arthur, this is highly inappropriate for the internal synergy forum. Keep your personal financial issues to yourself, and no caps. This isn't helping team morale. I ignored Shirley. I kept going. I was so emotional I was typing run-ons and typos were flying. Arthur Sanders 54M, I saw the receipt. Janice, $2,489, that is my raise. Isaiah confirmed you were the reason the funds were reallocated to employee wellness. Employee wellness for who? Just for you. This is step-parent overreach taken to a literal criminal level. Janice 51F, Arthur, you're overreacting. This is an investment in the FIRM's future. Financial decisions are complex. You are being dramatic and too sensitive. Practice some financial mindfulness. I never said that was your money. She really said that with her whole chest. I wanted to key her beat up Toyota Corolla. I texted back, Arthur Sanders 54M, you told Isaiah I needed to practice financial mindfulness while you were stealing my money for a stationary bicycle fitness guru class. You are literally draining my ability to pay off my student loans and keep my head above water. Shirley Park 37F, Arthur, stop this immediately. This is not how we communicate. This is giving major unprofessional energy. Christopher jumped back in, but this time he showed a little bit of loyalty. Christopher Wilson 61M, hold on, Shirley. If she denied Arthur's raise for her Peloton thing, that's not right. Arthur, is that true? Janice, did you actually take the money for your personal training? Janice ignored Christopher entirely and sent a triple text. Janice 51F, I'm going to block you if you continue this behavior. You are creating a hostile work environment. You should be grateful I am helping modernize the culture. Janice 51F, this is exactly the kind of negative energy I am trying to eliminate. Janice 51F, you need to understand boundaries. This is not appropriate. I felt my vision actually blur with anger. I was so close to throwing my iPhone 14 across the room. I took a shaky breath, remembering the countless times my wise mentor Isaiah Gray told me to always document everything. I sent one last text into the group chat directed at Janice and copied everyone. Arthur Sanders 54M, you are correct that this is about boundaries, Janice. Your boundary problem is that you are not my manager, you are not the CFO, and you are not entitled to make financial decisions regarding employee compensation based on your personal whim to pay for a certification. I am notifying Isaiah immediately. And effective tomorrow, I am also filing an official HR complaint regarding the misappropriation of company funds and workplace harassment against you. I logged off the WhatsApp chat. Immediately, my phone started ringing. It was Isaiah. I ignored it, then Christopher. I ignored it, then my dad. I let the phone vibrate until it stopped. I had 27 missed calls in the span of 1 hour. My notifications were at 47. I stayed awake all night, drinking terrible coffee, pacing my tiny apartment 3B, and writing down every single transgression Janice has committed since she started working here, including the time she tried to make me pay $85 for a sound bath session during work hours. The next morning today, Tuesday at 11:47 a.m., just before my 8th Zoom meeting of the day, I went straight to Isaiah. He looked exhausted. He'd clearly been up dealing with the fallout. Arthur, I saw the chat. It was completely unacceptable for Janice to use that money, I agree. And it was unacceptable for her to use the work chat for her personal announcements. I'm going to have a talk with her. I'll get you the raise, I promise. Just give me a few days to sort out the funding. Isaiah, with all due respect, I need more than a few days, and frankly, I need more than a talk, I said, trying to be firm but respectful. She has continually overreached, manipulated our firm's finances, and is now directly impacting my livelihood based on an impulse decision. She's family, Arthur, he pleaded. And she's my wife's daughter. It's complicated. It stops being complicated when it affects my ability to pay my $1,247 rent, Isaiah, I countered. I have drafted a formal HR complaint. I need 2 things right now. 1, I need that raise confirmed and deposited by the end of the week. 2, I need Janice Green immediately removed from the internal Synergy WhatsApp group and any other communication channel that isn't directly related to her defined role. I need her level of step-parent overreach eliminated from my professional life. Isaiah looked horrified. HR, Arthur, we don't even have a dedicated HR department. That's just a general email box that goes to my desk. I smiled grimly. I know, Isaiah, which is why I'm using the HR complaint resolution approach. I'm filing the complaint directly to the external consultancy we used last year, the one that handles our harassment claims, and I'm demanding resolution. Isaiah went pale. You can't do that. That will be messy. It could open us up to an audit. Then fix this before I hit send, I said. I am done being financially victimized by my stepmother's impulsive decisions. I am giving you until 5:00 p.m. today to confirm both the raise and her immediate removal from the group chat. If not, the HR complaint goes out detailing everything, including the misappropriation of funds for the Peloton certification. I left his office. I'm currently waiting. It's 5:35 p.m. I've used up all my PTO hours in my head just thinking about the outcome. My hands are still shaking, but the clarity of the rage is keeping me focused. About 10 minutes ago, I got a text, not from Isaiah, not from Shirley or Christopher. It was a private text from Janice. She must have seen I was standing my ground. Janice 51F, you need to back down immediately, Arthur. If you send that complaint, I promise you, I will make sure Christopher finds out about those unauthorized $200 withdrawals you made last quarter. I saw them on the ledger. You really want to play this game? I felt every drop of blood drain from my face. I completely forgot about those few times I had to front company money for supplies and hadn't gotten the petty cash reimbursement done fast enough. They were completely legitimate expenses, but they looked questionable on paper, especially to an old stickler like Christopher. And Janice was threatening to use my financial desperation against me. She found the absolute weakest point, the one thing that could actually get me fired and ruin me. I need to respond. I need to handle this, but I'm trapped. If I back down, she wins and I lose the raise. If I push forward, she could destroy my job. What the actual fuck am I supposed to do now? I'm looking at the clock. Isaiah is coming out of his office. He looks defeated. He's walking toward me right now. He just stopped right in front of my desk. He looks terrible. He opens his mouth to speak. And that's where I'm leaving it because he's about to tell me something and I need to know if I'm about to become unemployed or if I'm about to achieve sweet, sweet revenge. I'm literally holding my breath. I swear to God, if he says I have to apologize to Janice, I will throw the coffee mug at the wall. Wish me luck, guys. I need it to be continued. Do I fight or fold? I literally don't know. Help. Holy actual hell, guys. I need to take like 6 deep breaths just to type this next bit. Where I left off, Isaiah was standing right in front of my desk at 5:35 p.m. He looked absolutely gutted, like he hadn't slept since the Stone Age. Remember how I said I was holding my breath? Yeah, I was definitely starting to feel dizzy. He opened his mouth. I braced myself for the apology demand. I was ready to throw my gas station coffee mug at the wall and immediately hit send on that external HR complaint. Petty cash threat be damned. Arthur, he started, his voice a low, gravelly whisper. I got off the phone with your father. Oh, fantastic. Now we're bringing Dad into this. Dad, who thinks Janice is a genius because she convinced him that his aura was dangerously yellow and needed a $400 crystal bath. And Isaiah continued, rubbing his temples. Janice showed him your text messages. Your father is disappointed in your tone. He thinks you should apologize to her for being aggressive. See, I knew it. This is exactly what I was expecting. I gripped the edges of my desk so hard my knuckles were white. Isaiah, I said, trying to keep the shaking out of my voice. She literally manipulated the firm's finances to pay for a Peloton certification. That is theft of company resources, which directly impacted my approved compensation. My tone is irrelevant, the facts are not, he sighed, avoiding eye contact. Look, Arthur, the money is gone for now. She charged it to the Q4 professional development account, the same account your raise was supposed to draw from. We can't claw it back without causing a major internal incident. I felt the blood drain from my face again. She won. She just gets to steal the money and run, so I lose the raise. She gets a fitness certificate. My voice cracked slightly, which was humiliating. I was 54 and I was begging for $2,500 that was rightfully mine. Student loans are truly the ultimate equalizer of shame, NGL. No, you are not losing the raise, Isaiah rushed to clarify, seeing my face. I am personally cutting you a check for the full 4% amount, effective immediately, drawn from the retained earnings account. It will hit your bank account by tomorrow afternoon. This is non-negotiable and it is confidential. Okay, wait, small victory. He actually caved on the money part. That's $2,500 that will stop the $347 bill from completely drowning me. I felt a tiny, desperate surge of relief, but then came the kicker. However, Isaiah continued, looking grim, I can't remove her from the group chat, Arthur. She technically created the channel and your father insisted that if she's involved in communications, she has to be accessible to the team. Accessible to the team so she can threaten my job security, I shot back, keeping my voice low so Shirley, who was actively pretending to organize files 3 feet away, couldn't hear. I looked Isaiah dead in the eye. She texted me, Isaiah, just 10 minutes ago. She threatened to expose some completely legitimate but poorly documented petty cash fronts I made last quarter specifically to Christopher, knowing he would make it a huge issue. She's using proprietary financial information and turning it into workplace blackmail. That is textbook harassment and justification for the HR complaint. Isaiah's eyes went wide. He looked truly shocked this time, not just tired. She did that? Why would she be looking at those ledgers? That's Christopher's domain. She told me she saw them, I whispered fiercely. She's actively snooping into financial documents that are above her pay grade and using them to weaponize my financial precariousness. This is why she needs to be gone, Isaiah. She isn't just annoying, she's a threat to the firm's integrity. Isaiah looked utterly defeated. Okay, Arthur, I can't fire her. It's too messy with your dad, and frankly, she has zero contract, so she'd get nasty if we tried. But I will tell you this, I am disabling her access to all financial platforms immediately. She won't see another ledger period. And I will tell Christopher that any unauthorized investigations into staff finances are grounds for termination even if she whispers it to him. He paused, clearly grappling with the dad-wife's daughter problem. As for the group chat, I will ask her to step away from internal synergy and only use the dedicated team's channel for actual work business. If she posts any more personal non-work communications or anything remotely related to the Peloton certification, she's out. Final warning. It wasn't a perfect victory. Janice was still lurking, still employed, and still possibly sharing family dinners with my father where she could badmouth me. But I got the money and she lost her access to the financial levers she was pulling. I nodded curtly. Thank you, Isaiah. I expect that $2,500 by tomorrow. And if Christopher comes to me with questions about those withdrawals, I'm sending the HR complaint. He nodded quickly, looking relieved to escape, and shuffled back into his office. So I didn't fold, but I also didn't completely fight. I did the accountant thing. I negotiated a partial settlement based on risk assessment. NGL, it felt gross but effective. So it's been 2 days since the confrontation. The money hit my account exactly 1:47 p.m. the next day. I immediately paid that $347 stress bill and put the rest toward my highest interest student loan payment. A small, glorious weight lifted off my shoulders. I actually slept 6 hours that night, which felt like I'd won the lottery. The aftermath in the WhatsApp internal synergy chat, however, was pure high-octane drama. Janice hadn't posted her usual stream of terrible, inspirational quotes. The air was thick with tension. Christopher and Shirley, sensing the internal civil war, were completely quiet. It was like they were holding their breath, waiting for the next bomb to drop. Shirley predictably broke first. Shirley Park 37F, I cannot believe the unprofessionalism this week. Some people need to realize that work is not the place for drama. Clean up your personal lives before you bring this chaos here. She was clearly aiming that at me, but I refused to engage. I realized that if Janice had to step back from the group chat, Shirley might accidentally become the new primary villain. I was too tired for that. Then Christopher, bless his politically chaotic heart, showed up. Christopher Wilson 61M, Shirley, if you don't think financial transparency regarding employee raises is an issue that affects morale, you aren't paying attention. I heard Arthur's getting his raise now. Good, this is not about drama, this is about integrity. Wait. Christopher was defending me. Christopher, the guy who thinks the internet was better before everyone started using gender-neutral pronouns. Shirley immediately pounced. Shirley Park 37F, you are completely out of line, Christopher. That is confidential information. You need to stop meddling in things that do not concern you. Christopher Wilson 61M, I handle payroll. Everything concerns me, Shirley. And speaking of which, I was asked by Isaiah to check the Q4 supply expense ledger today and noticed some questionable activity. Very questionable. My stomach dropped again. I knew exactly what he was talking about. Janice had definitely tipped him off before Isaiah blocked her access. That woman works fast. I immediately texted Isaiah privately. Christopher is looking into the ledgers right now. Janice tipped him off. Isaiah replied almost instantly, stay calm. I already talked to him this morning. He knows if he acts on outside gossip, he's in trouble. I kept watching the group chat with the intensity of a hawk circling a mouse. Christopher Wilson 61M, I'm just saying I see expenses that haven't been reimbursed and I see large amounts that seem to have been used for non-business purchases. $2,489 for professional development. What exactly is that development? The direct call-out. Christopher, my unlikely transphobic ally, was now openly dragging Janice. The sheer chaos of this small firm, honestly. Janice 51F, Christopher, this is highly inappropriate. I was certified to improve firm wellness. I am not discussing personal finances in this forum. This is bullying. Christopher Wilson 61M, oh, is it bullying? What about the $85 sound bath session you charged the firm that Arthur had to attend last month? Was that firm wellness? Or the $17 avocado toast you expense every Friday? I literally snorted out loud in the break room. Christopher was a mess, but when he sharpened his focus, he was brutal. Shirley was silent. Janice 51F, I am taking this up with Isaiah. Arthur is manipulating the internal communications for his own gain. I am not taking these attacks. Arthur Sanders 54M, this forum is called internal synergy, Janice, not internal budgetary manipulation. You use company funds intended for employee compensation on a personal venture. That is why this is being discussed. You tried to blackmail me privately to stop me from addressing this. That is the true unprofessional behavior. I didn't think I could get away with openly mentioning the blackmail, but I had to establish that boundary. Janice 51F, I am blocking you, Arthur. You are toxic. And then she left the group chat, just vanished. The silence was palpable. A few minutes later, Isaiah popped in. Isaiah Gray 73M, Janice Green has decided to step away from the internal synergy group to focus on her communications role via Teams and email. Please keep all future communication professional and focused on firm business. Thank you, it was done. Janice was out of the chat. The raise was confirmed. Her access to financial data was blocked. I actually won partially without completely ruining my career or getting fired over the sketchy petty cash fronts. I leaned back in my chair. Relief, sweet and profound, washed over me. So a week went by where things were mostly quiet. Janice was still in the office. I saw her and we avoided eye contact like we were competing in a low-stakes office version of the Hunger Games. She looked furious, always glaring at me from the hallway, but she was silent. Christopher was walking around with a smug look, having achieved total victory in the group chat war. Shirley was still cranky, complaining about people not using coasters. Business as usual except for the lingering toxic dust cloud of passive aggression. During that week, I started talking to my friend Leo 50M, who is an operations manager at a software company. I told him everything. He was the one who encouraged me to look into whether I could leave Gray and Associates. Arthur, you're 54, you have 2 degrees and 20 years of accounting experience. Why are you letting a woman who charges avocado toast to the firm hold your career hostage? Leo said during our 45-minute phone call where I basically cried into my lukewarm gas station coffee again. He was right. I was comfortable, but comfortable was also miserable and indebted. By Tuesday of the following week, I was feeling brave. I finally went back to the original HR consultants, emailed the external firm I had threatened Isaiah with, and decided to ask some hypothetical questions. I needed to understand the legal ground I was standing on regarding Janice, not just for revenge, but for future protection. I got a call back from a paralegal the next day. The main takeaway was that because Janice had no formal contract or management role defined in the firm's structure, her behavior, while morally reprehensible, was treated as severe workplace harassment committed by an associate, not corporate theft by an executive. The biggest issue was the conflict of interest with my father and Isaiah. The paralegal, bless her heart, mentioned, if you want true financial stability and to eliminate the possibility of further retaliation, you need to be somewhere that has actual functioning HR policies, Arthur. This small firm setup is an accident waiting to happen. I knew she was right. I decided I was done. Done with the drama, done with the debt anxiety, and done with Janice's wellness consulting. I started applying for jobs quietly. I used those PTO hours I had been hoarding to attend interviews, telling Isaiah I was dealing with a recurring dental issue. Fast forward 2 more weeks and I got the call. A medium-sized logistics firm needed a senior accountant immediately. The salary, exactly 30% higher than what I was currently making, even with the raise. The firm also had a generous 401k match, something Gray and Associates did not offer, and critically, a dedicated external HR department and a comprehensive employee protection policy. I took the job immediately. I felt sick with excitement and terror. Now came the hardest part, telling Isaiah and dealing with the inevitable fallout from Dad and Janice. I decided to quit on a Thursday afternoon, timing it right before the weekend so I could avoid the inevitable emotional explosion. I typed up a formal, neutral resignation letter, citing the pursuit of new professional opportunities, and then went into Isaiah's office. Arthur, come in, you look stressed. The dental issue again? He asked, genuinely concerned. It's not my teeth, Isaiah, I said, handing him the envelope. I've accepted a position elsewhere. My last day will be 2 weeks from today. Isaiah opened the envelope, scanned it, and then looked up at me, his face collapsing. Arthur, no, you can't. You've been here 20 years. We're family. Who's going to handle the Miller account? I was planning on you taking over entirely when I retire. I am appreciative of the opportunities you gave me, Isaiah, and I genuinely see you as a mentor, I said, sticking to the script. But I need stability, professional boundaries, and frankly, a salary that reflects my years of experience. The recent environment has made it clear that I can't achieve that here. He knew exactly what I meant. He deflated entirely. This is about Janice, isn't it? He whispered. This is about my student loan debt, Isaiah, and my ability to pay my $1,247 rent without being threatened by my stepmother for petty cash fronts, I replied honestly. I can't work in an environment where my financial well-being is treated like a negotiating chip for a Peloton instructor certification. He didn't argue, he just looked heartbroken. I failed you, Arthur. I should have done more to protect you from her impulsiveness. You did what you could within your complicated family structure, I conceded, trying to offer him some grace. I'm just tired of being collateral damage. He accepted it sadly, and we agreed on a professional 2-week transition plan. I promised to train Christopher on the finer points of the Miller account, much to his excited relief. The inevitable happened that evening. My phone, which I had put on silent, started vibrating maniacally while I was eating a sad frozen pizza trying to process quitting the job I'd held for 2 decades. First, a text from my dad. Dad 62M, Arthur, what is this Isaiah is telling me? You quit. Are you insane? You were supposed to inherit the firm. Janice is beside herself. She thinks you're trying to ruin her business contacts. Arthur Sanders 54M, Dad, I quit because I found a job that pays 30% more and has actual HR. Janice is not my business contact. She's my stepmother who stole my raise. Dad 62M, she didn't steal it. She reallocated it. You need to grow up and accept that not everything is about you. You're making Janice look bad. She's starting her certification next week. I didn't respond. I literally couldn't. I just put the phone away and stress ate the rest of the pizza. Then the true horror show started. Janice bypassed texting me directly and instead sent a passive-aggressive novel into the now dormant internal Synergy WhatsApp chat, even though she was supposedly focusing on Teams. She must have asked Isaiah to re-add her or done some quick IT workarounds. Janice 51F. Well, it seems some people couldn't handle the internal synergy we were trying to build. Clearly, some people lack the necessary emotional intelligence and financial mindfulness to exist in a high-vibrational work environment. They prefer to drag others down with their victim mentality. I wish Arthur the best, but honestly, this is a blessing in disguise for the firm. We can now focus on bringing in people who truly value wellness and teamwork. P.S. My first Peloton class is mandatory for all remaining staff next Tuesday at 6 a.m. Check your calendars. I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. The sheer, relentless audacity. She literally thought my leaving was a strategic victory for her wellness empire. I was about to stay silent, let her have the last word in the mandatory 6 a.m. workout, but then I realized I was leaving. I had nothing left to lose. My external HR complaint was irrelevant now because I wouldn't be working there. She couldn't threaten me with Christopher and the petty cash anymore. I logged into the WhatsApp chat, my hands flying over the keyboard one last time. Arthur Sanders 54M, Janice, I saw your little passive-aggressive victory lap. I didn't leave because I couldn't handle your high-vibrational work environment. I left because I secured a position that pays 30% more, provides actual benefits, and operates with professional boundaries. I left because I refused to be associated with an accountant firm whose operations manager thinks stealing an employee's approved cost of living raise to fund a fitness instructor certification is acceptable professional behavior. I got my raise check, you got your Peloton certification, and now I'm getting my professional sanity. Have fun with the 6 a.m. mandatory workout team. I'll be sleeping soundly knowing my rent is covered and I don't have to listen to a single vibe check ever again. I didn't wait for a response. I blocked Janice immediately, then I blocked my dad. I blocked the internal synergy chat. I even blocked Shirley just for good measure. I went to bed feeling light, vindicated, and maybe a little reckless. 3 days after that, which was Saturday, I got a text from Christopher. I unblocked him just to see what the fallout was like. Christopher Wilson 61M, Arthur, you were right to leave. That Janice woman is a menace. Isaiah just got hit with a massive fine from the external consultancy firm. Apparently after you quit, Christopher realized that the funds Janice used for the Peloton certification were improperly categorized and resulted in a huge, obvious red flag during an internal audit review. He exposed her entirely just because he wanted the firm's books to be clean. He's totally anti-woke, but he hates messy finances even more. Wait, what? I called Christopher immediately. You seriously got Janice audited? I asked, laughing hysterically. I didn't get her audited, Arthur. I got the firm audited, Christopher clarified, sounding totally unbothered. Isaiah asked me to look into that Q4 professional development account, and when I saw she had charged the firm for the certification before she even started working toward a firm goal, that's immediate liability. Plus, I noticed she had been charging those personal talenti gelatos and avocado toast expenses under client morale every single day. The firm got hit with a $15,000 fine for improper expense categorization and fraud, Arthur. $15,000. My jaw was on the floor. Janice's petty theft had completely backfired and cost the firm 600% of what my raise was worth. What happened to Janice? I asked. She's gone, Christopher whispered conspiratorially. Isaiah had to let her go yesterday. The fine was too high and the liability was too great. Your father is furious, but even he couldn't protect her from a $15,000 fine. Sweet, sweet justice. Janice was fired not by me but by her own impulsive, reckless financial decisions exposed by the least likely ally, Christopher Wilson, the guy who hated modern social issues but loved clean ledgers. Update: this morning Tuesday I showed up at my new office. The new job is great. The office has actual walls, not cubicles, and the coffee is organic and free. They use Teams, not WhatsApp. And they have a huge, beautiful poster advertising their 401k plan. I'm already feeling less crushed by the debt, knowing I can attack it with a 30% higher salary. I got a random text from Shirley Park this morning. Shirley Park 37F, I never thought I'd say this, Arthur, but I miss you. Janice is texting Isaiah threatening to sue for wrongful termination, and Christopher won't stop talking about expense fraud. It's worse than before. Congratulations on the new job. I just texted back, Arthur Sanders 54M, TBH Shirley, I'm just focusing on financial mindfulness. I didn't elaborate, I didn't need to. Final reflections. I spent 20 years at that small firm, letting my wise mentor Isaiah treat me like family while simultaneously letting my stepmother financially abuse me because I was too scared of rocking the boat and losing my stability. The fact that it took me reaching a literal breaking point, the $1,247 rent, the $347 bill, the $140,000 student debt, to finally stand up and quit is pathetic, NGL. But it happened. I realized that the biggest lesson wasn't about Janice, it was about the debt. That student loan debt made me a financial victim. It made me swallow every piece of crap Janice shoveled because I couldn't risk unemployment. The moment I realized I had viable options, the moment I realized I could get a better job, the fear lifted. I'm 54 and I'm starting over. It's terrifying. I'm still stress-eating Ben & Jerry's, but now I am eating it to celebrate, not to cope. I still have the massive student loans, but now I have a roadmap to tackle them that doesn't involve being blackmailed by a stepmother who wants to be a Peloton instructor. I still have to deal with my dad, who thinks I betrayed the family, LOL, but I've kept him blocked since Friday. Eventually I'll unblock him, but I need time to establish my new boundaries. Janice is gone, the firm got fined, Christopher accidentally became the hero of fiscal responsibility, and I am out. It wasn't clean, and no, I didn't get an apology from Janice, but I got something better, a higher salary and peace of mind. I still have nightmares about mandatory 6 a.m. Peloton classes though, seriously. Anyway, that's the update. Thanks for letting me vent the whole insane saga. I am off to learn the real rules of my new firm's expense policy. I will never ever front company money for supplies again. Lesson learned, always get the damn receipt. We'll update if Janice tries to start a competing accounting firm based on crystal healing and bike shorts. Knowing her, it's a distinct possibility.